Hey everyone, Scott with Scottified Furniture. Welcome back. Today I'm bringing you a transformation of this pair of nightstands I got. They were $29.99 at Salvation Army, and that was for the pairs. They were having a buy one, get one. And you can see here we had a drawer broken, which actually was an easy fix. There were lots of dings and nicks, even man-made wormholes in this, as that seemed to be popular back in the day. A little bit of paint on the front of them, but here we are. So let's go ahead and get started and cut those tags off, and then we're going to give them a really good cleaning. These were really nasty, so I actually ended up going in first with some soap and water and really scrubbing them there. You can see I'm using my kitchen scrub brush that I use for furniture, and I am giving them a really good cleaning. Now, they were really nasty. Once I finished washing them, I went in there with a clean rag, started drying them off really good. I noticed that this rag was still pulling off dirt every time I was scrubbing. I believe here I'm even going to run back and get me a new microfiber if I remember correctly. Yep, there I go, getting another microfiber cloth to continue to dry these off and clean them. And then I'm going to come in with my handy dandy crud cutter and continue to get that gross grime and dirt off of these nightstands. All right, so I am continued to wipe down the nightstands with some fresh water here. Coming back in, I wipe them down, I dry them off, then I wipe them down some more, and I'm still getting dirt on them. So what do? I am going to soak them. I bring the bucket over, and I am going to dump it all over these nightstands. And again, water haters, don't come at me. It is a hot day here in Central Florida, and I am going to come back and dry these immediately. Get all the soap and crud cutter off, and then the sun is going to do its thing, and they're going to be dry very quick, I promise, so don't hate me for that. And yes, I even check in the drawers to make sure they didn't get soaked. And here is where I pulled a drawer out, and I actually found a pair of naughties that I missed in my original cleaning. That's always fun, so you never know what you're going to find when you're flipping furniture. All right, nightstands are all dry. Coming in and numbering my drawers and nightstands. I'm doing A, T, and AB for A top, A bottom, and then BT and BB for B top, B bottom. And then as long as I've got the drawers out, I'm going to go ahead and do one more quick clean through with the vacuum cleaner. Make sure I've got all those dust bunnies out. You can honestly never clean too much. And then I'm going to flip these things on their back and make sure I've got all the dust bunnies and any spider eggs that may have been there on the bottom of the nightstands out. And lastly, I just do a quick run through of all the drawers one more time just because they were sitting outside with a kind of cracked open. So I like to make sure nothing's crawled in there. And then I get that done, get everything set up, and then it is going to be time to remove hardware and get that set. So here we go. I remove the hardware, I insert some extra screws and tape them in, and then I like to still tape the sides of the drawers, whether they are dovetailed or not. I just think it helps protect the drawers, especially when I'm spraying the paint. Getting that last drawer taped here. And there we go, clean up my mess. And now it is time to scuff. So I've brought out my handy dandy Surf Prep sander. And we're going to do a quick scuff here. And I am noticing as I'm scuffing here, there is a lot of beat up, a lot of marks, a lot of man-made wormholes. There's a hot mess happening on the fronts, the sides, the tops of this nightstand. But I will say the Surf Prep is getting in there. I love how the foam pad goes right in on those edges. So we continue to scuff sand all of this and get it set there. I love that you can see what the sander is doing for you. It's really doing the work. I'm not having to do much at all. And I love how it gets those drawers. And here I am, I'm going to sand these columns. I'll be honest, at one point I thought about filling these columns in and making it a smooth section, but the columns actually sanded really nice. And it was at that point I decided to keep them. And there you go, you can see where that surf prep just hugs those corners and curves and just gets that scuff sand right in there for you. It makes life so much nicer. And then we're going to do a quick scuff of those half rounds for the bun feet. All right, now that everything's scuffed sanded, I'm going to come through and wipe everything off of here and get all of that dust off that may have been left behind that wasn't collected in my vacuum system. So they're looking pretty good, but I have determined now that I want to go ahead and fill in some of those dings with some Bondo glaze putty. So you're going to see here I'm going to do some surgery. I'm going to cover quite a bit before I even do primer. And this is just a time saver for me. If I see there's a nick already, I will go ahead and cover anything I can before I even start the primer. So you're going to see I use quite a bit on both the nightstands, on the fronts, the sides, the drawers, all over them. There were little holes in here, nail holes, again, worm holes. I guess that was the style when this was made. It was really quite frustrating having to fill all those in, but I've encountered that before. But this glaze putty is going to take care of all of that for me. I'm even filling in some of the cracks there in the corners. And there I go dabbing more into the little pinholes that are in there and getting some of the dresser nicks out. And there they are. Don't they look pretty? It looks like a bloodbath has happened on those things, but I promise you that is going to save me all kinds of time. Now, I didn't film, but I've gone in now and I've sanded back and cleaned up where I did all of that putty. So you can see here that's still quite a bit left on there. And we'll just go in now with the primer, and then I'll know what areas I need to touch up. So here I am preparing my primer. I like to use the gray primer, and so I am getting that into my Flexio 5000. I add a little bit of water just to make it easy to spray. And then spraying primer is such a game changer. It saves so much time. And I am getting that coated all over on this first coat, and it is going on like butter. At this point here, I am actually falling in love with this primer color on these nightstands. I realize gray is probably not the end color right now. However, they are already looking so much better just with this gray primer coat. Look how easy that primer is spraying. The Flexio 5000 is truly handling this like a champ. It is going on so nicely. So I said in 2026 I was going to do a better job of filming, and I've already messed up. I failed to film when I went back in and added some more of the Bondo glaze putty, but I am here now putting on my second coat of gray primer, and it is already looking fantastic. There you have it. 2 coats of primer, smooth as butter, and it looks great. All right, it's time to get ready for paint. So I'm going to be using Farmhouse Paint's Bohld Black from their Evolution line. I do love this black. It is going on so nicely. It is just gorgeous. This Farmhouse Paint Bohld Black is truly becoming one of my favorite black colors of any brand. Okay, first coat is complete, and it does look really good. I can see some areas as I'm walking around that I'm going to go in and do a second coat on, that I'm going to do a little bit of sanding on just to smooth out some areas that are high. But here I am going in with some 320 grit on my sand block, doing a quick sanding of it, getting it kind of cleaned up so I can do my second coat of paint, and it really is looking nice. Once I'm done sanding, I grab my microfiber cloth, clean off of that dust, and then at this point here, I'm going to come back and give it that second coat. Sadly, I failed to hit record on the second coat, and I did a quick third coat as well, just because I did a few more touch-ups, but the black looked fantastic. Now that everything's ready, we're going to come in with the Farmhouse clear coat for my top coat. And I always like to add a little bit of my base color in there, so I added some of that black in so that it's going to help with any streaking. And that is going to go again, spraying through my gun, and we're going to get that on in complete coverage. I will do 2 coats of this. I am really, really, really loving how this is look. And I know you're probably tired of hearing me say that, but the transformation that I'm seeing happen already is just incredible. Look at that beautiful black. And now we add in some drawer liners, which gives it that splash of gold on the inside as well. And once that liner is complete, we then start putting on the drawer knobs. And I am using some that are in an antique brush gold and getting those all on. And then it'll be time for the final reveal. Now that we're getting those knobs in, let's take a look at the before. Here they are, as you can see, straight out of Salvation Army. And now here they are in that beautiful bold black. These honestly do not even look like the same nightstands that we started with. I think they look stunning. The black pops, the gold chunky knobs look great. You've got that touch of gold on the inside of those clean drawers. The drawers are sliding nicely. Look at the work that glazed putty did on top of these nightstands. They are smooth as silk. I love how the columns now pop. Before, I just thought they were barely noticeable and more were a hindrance, but now they are just so sexy. What do you think? Do you like them in black? Do you like the gold knobs? Do you think we made a good transformation here from some old furniture that cost $29.99? I definitely want your feedback. I want to know what you think. Would you put them in your bedroom? I know I would. As always, I thank you for joining me here at Scottified Furniture, and I hope to see you again soon.